Left. Left. Ready. Hold. Stop. Face. Ready, up, step, 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 ready, down, ready, up. Present arms. Order arms. Forward face. Forward march. Left. 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 Ready, hold. File out. That's it. Sit. Carry. Push. Ready, sit. Forward. Walk. Lift. Lift. Right. Lift. 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 More time. More. Lift. Lift. Right. Lift. 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 Right. Lift. Left turn. March. Freeze it. Cut. Order. Cut. Straight post. Order. Cut. Red. On. Word. On. Right turn. Mark. Lift. 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 Hold. Hold.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Darren Styling, and it is absolutely my honor that the family has asked me to be here for this today. Thank you. Anthony Dale Ferguson, 41, remembering a fallen hero. Anthony Tony Dale Ferguson was born September 1st, 1981, to Danny Ferguson and Diane Mahan in Aztec, New Mexico. He officially started with the Alamogordo Police Department October 31st, 2011. Ferguson graduated from the New Mexico Police Academy December 14th, 2012. Tony became a field training officer in 2018 and served as a training in that capacity until present. Tony was a standardized field sobriety test instructor, a crisis intervention team instructor. He was an 11-year veteran. He was known as an exceptional police officer that poured himself into our community. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself." Matthew 22:37-39. Tony Ferguson lived out this commandment daily by his actions. He has impacted so many lives. He may have not been religious, but he understood how to love people. He understood how to love people like Jesus. Tony is greatly loved by many, and he will be profoundly missed. Officer Ferguson is survived by his parents, Danny Ferguson and Diane Mahan. His 15-year-old daughter, Brittany Malden, and his 13-year-old son, Cameron Malden. And his 4 brothers and their families. I would like to take a moment on behalf of the family to thank all of you for being here. The impact that an officer has in his service often goes unnoticed. And then we take a look around at a moment like this and we realized just a glimpse of what that meant. I spoke recently to a colleague talking about this incident, and we said that we talked about September 12th. Everybody remembers September 11th. We remember September 12th, the day when we all went arm in arm and we loved each other. As I look around this room, I pray that today is our September 12th, and that we remember the love of this community and what Officer Ferguson, his sacrifice means to us, what Officer Ferguson's family's sacrifice means to us. For everyone here, I would like to thank you for your attendance. Family, thank you. Distinguished guests, thank you for your attendance. I would ask at this time that you please stand for a prayer. After the prayer, I would ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence. Leading us in prayer today will be Alamogordo Police Department Chaplain, Pastor Anthony Ferguson.
John 1:5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." My brothers and sisters that wear the uniform, let me remind you today that darkness did not win, and it will not win. When you put on that uniform, you're the light. When you get in your unit, you're the light. When you respond to a call, you're the light. Keep pushing back the darkness and keep being the light. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, and Lord, we need your strength. We need your peace. We need your covering. But Lord, we need your presence today. We have a lot of frustrations. We have a lot of emotions today, but in the midst of all that, God, you are still good. And I pray, Lord, that you cover this city with your love, that you cover this city with your spirit and your presence today. We thank you, Lord, for the life of Officer Ferguson. He was and will continue to be the light in this city. And so, Father, we ask your covering over the service today, and we ask your blessings upon this service. And we ask this all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
May we please bow in a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to ask United States Army Sergeant, retired United States Army Sergeant, Christopher Heisler with the United States Honor Flag, come to the stage for a moment and speak of the honor flag and its meaning for being here for our fallen hero.
First of all, let me say that being from Alaska, it's hot. It's like Superman hot. But before I start, I'd like to do something to demonstrate to this family that I had an opportunity to meet yesterday. Family, if you could stay seated. To the community, to the police officers, to the first responders, could you please stand? Family, if you can look around this room, this represents a very small fraction of those who care and will honor you continuously. We respect you, we honor you, we mourn with you. For those that are here to support this family, to the police officers, the first responders, please give this family the round of applause that they deserve to show your support. Please be seated. We gather here today to bid farewell to a remarkable soul, Police Officer Anthony Ferguson. Anthony dedicated his life to protecting and serving our community, and today we lay him to rest. With us is the United States Honor Flag. This single American flag since 9/11 has honored thousands of police officers, firefighters, first responders, and members of the U.S. Armed Forces. A symbol of respect and gratitude for his unwavering service. Anthony Ferguson was more than just a police officer. He was a guardian, a friend, a beacon of hope for all that knew him. He embraced his duty with an unyielding sense of responsibility, and his commitment to the values, honor, integrity, and selflessness made him a true hero in every sense of the word. Throughout his career, he demonstrated extraordinary courage. In the face of adversity, he walked the thin blue line with unwavering determination, protecting the innocent and standing against those determined to bring innocent harm, even when it meant putting his own life on the line. And he did exactly that. His dedication and sacrifice will forever be etched in the hearts of those he served. Today we must not only mourn the loss of an exceptional police officer, but also recognize the profound impact he had on the lives of countless individuals. Anthony was more than just a uniform. He was a loving father, a son, a brother, a caring friend, and a source of inspiration to all that knew him. In the wake of this tragedy, it's natural for us to feel an overwhelming sense of grief and sadness. But let us also find solace in the memories we hold dear. Let us remember the smile that brightened even the darkest days, the laughter that filled the room, and the unyielding determination that inspired us all. This flag will continue to move from place to place to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice, just like Anthony. To his family, we cannot forget his sacrifice. We honor you. Each and every single time that this flag is handled or touched, we use brand new custom gloves. Some of those gloves yesterday were given to the family. The rest of those gloves will be given to them later on today as a tribute and commitment to us preserving his honor and his sacrifice eternally. Thank you for your service. Thank you for giving us this incredible man to this community. God bless you.
Thank you, Chris. Next, I would like to ask Chief David Kunihiro to come up and share a few words with our community.
Today we gather here with heavy hearts to bid farewell to a son, a brother, an uncle, a true hero, a beloved member of our community, and a dedicated officer who made the ultimate sacrifice while protecting and serving us all. It is difficult to find the words to to express the depth of sorrow we feel when we mourn the loss of Anthony Ferguson. His passing leaves a void that cannot be filled, and his absence will be felt in the lives of his family, friends, colleagues, and the entire community he has so selflessly served. Officer Ferguson was more than just a person in uniform. He was a symbol of courage, honor, and selflessness. He was the embodiment of everything a law enforcement officer should be: compassionate yet resolute, brave yet humble, and always willing to put others' well-being before his own. Each day he donned the uniform with pride, knowing that it was not just a job, but a calling to protect and defend the vulnerable, to uphold the values that underpin our society, and to ensure that justice prevails over injustice. As we remember our fallen officer today, let us also acknowledge the sacrifices made by his family. Behind every officer is a family who supports and encourages and stands by them in their mission to keep us safe, to bear the weight of the risk, the late night calls, and the worry that comes with having a loved one in harm's way. To the family of Officer Ferguson, we extend our deepest condolences and unending gratitude for sharing him with us and allowing him to serve our community. In times like these, it's natural to question why such a society, why such a tragedy had to befall us. Why do bad things happen to good people? We are all hurting and will all grieve in our own way. Let us remember the good things, the countless lives Fergie touched, and how he positively influenced our community. His memory will live on in the hearts of those he has touched, the lives he has changed, and the difference he has made. To our law enforcement community, as we mourn the loss of our brother, remember that your sacrifice and dedication to the safety of our community and all of your communities to which you served do not go unnoticed. As we say our final goodbye to our fallen officer, let us honor his memory by embodying the principles he stood for: duty, courage, service, and the willingness to stand up for what he believed was right. Let Officer Ferguson's legacy serve as a reminder that we must cherish every moment and the people around us, for life is fragile, and we never know what the future holds. In closing, let us remember the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson: to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and to endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Officer Ferguson has exceeded in touching the lives and leaving a permanent mark on our hearts. May he rest in peace, knowing that his sacrifice will never be forgotten, and his memory will forever guide and inspire us. So, as a result of his actions and bravery during the incident that occurred in the morning hours of July 15th, 2023, Officer Ferguson has received the following awards and commendations. The Combat Cross is presented, let me back up, I'm sorry, to my left over here, to your right or left, depending on where you're at, I'm sorry. There's a small frame here. It has these 6 awards and commendations that Officer Ferguson has received from his bravery from July 15th, 2023. The first award is the Combat Cross. The Combat Cross is presented to an individual employed by the department for an act of heroism and imminent personal hazard of life in combat with an armed adversary. Chief's Commendation. The Chief's Commendation is presented for outstanding performance deserving of recognition by the police chief. Exceptional Duty. The Exceptional Duty is presented for a highly credible accomplishment, bringing public acclaim to the employee, the department, and the profession as a result of training, devotion to duty, or service to public. The Gallantry Star, Excellent Arrest. The Gallantry Star is presented for an act of distinguished bravery in the arrest of a person who is a major threat to the welfare of the community and/or the officer. Meritorious Service. This award is presented for a highly unusual accomplishment under adverse conditions with some degree of hazard to life and limb to the nominee, or where death or injury to a third party is prevented. And finally, the Public Safety Cross. This award is presented by the department for an act of heroism in imminent personal hazard of life. Officer Ferguson, you will be missed.
Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel when I take
What an amazing tribute. Now we would ask for some reflections from family and colleagues, friends. Brittany?
Hello, I'm Brittany Eva's daughter. I never thought that this day would come. No words that anyone can say can make this pain go away. You would always prepare me for the day that you might not come home, but I never thought that the day would actually come. You were my bestest friend, my ride or die, the person I would call or text if I ever needed anything. You were my everything. You were the best dad anyone could ever ask for. You were always a pain in the butt, and I would always get mad at you for embarrassing me in front of everyone. I'm gonna miss the days when you would go visit me at work, honk the horn when you would drop me off at school just to embarrass me, but a smile on my face. You were supposed to take me and my brother to Europe next summer, and that's all you were ever talking about. You were supposed to stay on this planet to be there for me when I graduate, or walk me down the aisle when I get married. I'll always wait for those good morning and good night texts I would get every day from when you called me every 5 minutes just to check up on me. You had always told me I was the most beautiful girl in the world, so we came up with a song just so you could remind me how beautiful I am every day. When I was little, I could never say I love you, so we just decided to say I love you instead, and that was always our thing. I was always grumpy and fussy, so my nickname was always Fussy until I became a teenager. When I turned 13, you told me that I wasn't your little lady anymore. But Tony, I will always be your little lady and your fussy child. A couple years ago, you bought me these bracelets that said Little Lady and Fussy. And on the back of them they said, I may not have given you the gift of life, but life gave you the gift of you. And the other one said, whenever you feel overwhelmed, remember whose daughter you are, and straighten your crown. I will always cherish those bracelets and all of the wonderful memories we have together. I love you so much, and I still cannot believe that you're gone. I will always love you forever and always, Ferguson.
Outside of the law enforcement memorial, ma'am, there is a scripture. And it says that wicked flee when no man pursueth. But the righteous is bold as a lion. And let me tell you something, young lady. That was amazing. I would now ask for members of the Alamogordo Police Department, Fire Department, and the District Attorney's Office that are scheduled to speak. to come forward as a group, and you can introduce yourselves individually. But let's, instead of having to just turn that around, if all of us could come forward, please. I believe the first speaker is going to be Lieutenant William Skaggs of the Alamogordo Fire Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant William Skaggs with the Alamogordo Fire Department. Today is a day of remembrance, a part of the grieving process for this unimaginable loss that we've all sustained. The shock, the disbelief, the fear, and the anger is still fresh in our minds and in our hearts. We will forever pose the question of why. But everyone who knew Officer Anthony Ferguson knows his dedication to his brothers and sisters, the city of Alamogordo, our citizens, and most importantly, to the children of our community. Friends and family members knew him by Anthony, Tony, or Fergie. He will forever be Fergie to me. The master of humor and pranks. No one was safe from his shenanigans. We all loved him so much for them. In Fergie's memory, I would like to share some of the things that made him part of the AFD family and my friendship with Fergie through the years. I was just a few years into my career when Fergie came on board, and we were still a Department of Public Safety. We had a lot in common from the very beginning. As I went through the exact same process he did, coming in as a public safety officer, going through the fire academy, dealing with a massive amount of information to learn to do both jobs that are so different from one another. Although ultimately, I ended up on the fire side, I always had the connection with the new police recruits. I have the same concept in mind, that we are public servants, that we are not meant to be fearless, but recognize the fear, control it, and make tactical and calculated approaches to overcome it, and watch each other six at all costs. Ferguson was no different, or Ferguson was very different than any other police recruits that I taught in the DPS fire academies. I knew with the right mentorship, he would become an amazing officer and an even better man, and the outstanding field training officer he was. In a sense, you could say, I saw a lot of myself in Fergie, and that sparked our friendship. When Fergie came onto the job, one of his first tasks was to complete the fire academy. This is where he started to become the Fergie we all knew and loved. Fergie was claimed into the FD family from the very beginning. Everyone who knew him knows that while he had a heart of gold, he could push your patience, especially in the beginning of his career. As he was a few years behind me in the process of maturing and learning how to navigate through the tough situations and decisions that this career field throws at us. Even though he was a few years older than me, and I never let him forget that. We discovered quickly during the fire academy that he was deathly afraid of heights. So we made sure he was the first cadet at the end of our 100-foot aerial every time we utilized it for training. I even earned my first verbal counseling for taking Fergie up 100 foot in the air, then tipping the bucket on truck one. It was well worth it, considering the years of pranks he returned upon me. Although we are sure that he secretly hated us in the beginning, he did everything we asked him with no complaints. Little did we know that several times in his career, he would get himself in situations where he needed us to save him. Like the time he scaled the wall of the mall, ending up on the roof while looking for a suspect, and then couldn't get back down afterwards because of his fear of heights. But in the moment, he had control of his fear, and he put himself in harm's way for the good of everyone else. Needless to say, we ended up bringing down our ladder truck and getting him off the roof. Of course, we had an uncontrollable issue with truck 2, and it just happened to go vertical, and it sent him 75 foot in the air before we could bring him safely back to the ground. He let us know how he felt about it, which Fergie did quite often. Then we hugged, and we never let him live it down. Throughout his entire career, he bought us a lot of meals to get firefighters to take aerial photos for him on crash scenes, so he didn't have to climb a ladder truck ever again. If anyone has ever wondered why Fergie played so many pranks on the firefighters, let me tell you where it all started. While he was in the police academy, after he completed the fire academy, firefighter Ross discovered that the key to his Toyota truck worked in Ferg's old beat-up Toyota truck as well. So firefighter Ross started moving Fergie's truck from the Northville parking lot at APD to the South parking lot at APD, and this perplexed Ferg, as he knew he was parking his truck in the North parking lot when he left, and when he returned at the end of the week, it would be in the South parking lot. He never said a word though. He didn't find out till later what was happening. He was so furious and laughing at the same time. Several years later, Fergie's truck was actually stolen. And we had to explain that we didn't take it this time. Firefighter Ross was able to track him down almost the exact same beat-up Toyota truck to replace it. Fergie was forever grateful, but continued to try to get us back every chance he got. After several years as an officer, Fergie became a field training officer. I'm sure he reached out to many of his mentors, as he did to me after moving into this position. We had countless talks about his ability to teach. I reassured him that he would do great, as he reassured me when I was debating putting in for promotion myself. I can't even count the number of conversations, some on the fire truck bumper, between him and I when one of us didn't handle a situation right. And we leaned on each other to better ourselves for the next one. But the biggest trait we shared with each other is the fact that we were both colorblind when it came to family. While there is undoubtedly a PD family, a fire department family, an EMS family, and a dispatching family, we both believe that there are no red or blue, white or gold lines in a family, but that we all make up one family with one common goal, and we must take care of each other. I do believe every officer in attendance today would agree that Ferg was an amazing FTO. Even after the split, Fergie pushed the one-team agenda, and he would make sure to bring every trainee he had by the fire station and teach them their role in helping us on fires. He also made sure to let them know that we had many great talents within the FD, one of them being that we were very skilled with a broom and floor dry on car accidents. So in return, we always shared the story of Fergie's famous fire size up abilities. Before splitting out of DPS early in his career, while we were still sharing a radio channel between the police department and the fire department, one shift we got toned out for a possible structure fire. And 134 called out on scene first. There was a brief pause on the radio, then you heard Fergie's voice come up. If you remember this transmission, you likely remember how hard he was trying to sound professional when he transmitted. 134 PD, let the fire units know that there is fire in the flames. Then there was radio silence as we all tried to process what fire in the flames could possibly mean. It turned out that the flames were blowing out of the garage, and he was trying to tell us that. Fergie was teased about this radio transmission his entire career, and we've added it to the curriculum in our fire academy. Fergie was no stranger to the firehouse after the split. He came at the beginning and end of his shift religiously to check on us. He ate dinner with us. He went out of his way to take care of us on scene. He loved to call us hose draggers. When we said we had a busy shift, he would say the only busy thing we did was sleep. So he would drive by and tease us with his PA to make sure we were up on time. One particular time, He came sliding onto the ramp of Station 1, hopped out of his unit, tossed the keys to a firefighter, and said he wanted the deluxe wash. Then realizing what he just did, he scrambled to get his keys back before one of us could get into his unit. Because he knew we would take it for a joyride, and he didn't want to explain to the police chief how firefighters got the keys to his unit. I'm pretty sure threats of using his taser got involved to get them back. And the public probably wondered why a cop and firefighters were wrestling in front of Station 1. But we all knew that we could count on him to have our back in any situation, so that gave us the ability to joke and play like brothers. Fergie was there for me when I went through a very rough patch in my career. I was ready to throw in the towel and go do something else. He pushed me to fight through the situation and see the light at the end of the tunnel. I have him to thank today as I stand here in this uniform as a lieutenant. Fergie leaned on me over the years. Countless times, I stood by his side in multiple fashions. I gave him guidance and perspective, and always stood by him when he felt he needed to be heard, as he did for me. I never imagined I'd be speaking about him under these circumstances. It breaks my heart that I won't be able to attend his retirement party and give this speech then. Absolutely no one can ever fill Fergie's shoes. His big heart for the children of Alamogordo is unmatchable. We collaborated many times to provide special memories and friendships for some very special children in our community. Little did these children know that they were Fergie's heroes just as much as Fergie was a hero to them. Fergie knows that these kids will forever hold him dear in their hearts just as he did then. I know every law enforcement officer, every firefighter, every EMT, and dispatcher that ever met Fergie will go above and beyond for the kids in Fergie's memory. As Fergie and I grew older and matured, we began to share yet another similar situation with our own children. When Fergie loved someone, he loved them with his entire heart. As I end my time today, I would like to take a moment and express Fergie's love for his children. I can't count the times that we would tease each other while picking our boys up from school. He would come to the fire station and tell us how proud he was of his kids. He asked the entire fire department to go buy Calicis and give his daughter a hard time at her first job, which some of us did. To Fergie's son and daughter, your father's love shined for you above anything else, and anyone that truly knew him knows this to be true. To all of Ferg's family, you have an extended fire department family, and we will always be here for you. Don't hesitate to lean on us. I speak for every firefighter, lieutenant, and chief within the ranks of AFD. And to Fergie, once again, thank you for taking care of everyone, being there for the children, being there for me. I can never repay you for the kindness and professionalism you showed my wife, even though you were in blue and she was in brown. Katie and Jess have their own book of stories with you too, and they're still waiting for their junior firefighter badges you promised them. You will forever be in our hearts, and we will never forget you, Fergie. We have your six, Fergie, and we know you will always have ours. It's see you later, brother. Never goodbye.
Not like 6'3". Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather here to celebrate the life of a remarkable individual, Officer Anthony Dale Ferguson. It is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today, but also with a profound sense of gratitude for having had the privilege of knowing and loving this intense, extraordinary man. To say that Tony was special would be an understatement. He possessed a rare combination of qualities that made him one of a kind. His smile, his blunt honesty, compassionate heart, and unwavering loyalty touched the lives of everyone he encountered. Whether he was giving you a hard time or giving a helping hand, he had a way of making you feel seen and heard. One of the things I admire most about Tony was his ability to see the beauty in everything and everyone. He possessed an innate ability to find joy in the simplest of moments, like buying Girl Scout cookies or making friends with the local children at the lemonade stands. Tony taught me the importance of finding happiness in the little things and how much impact one person can make in a community. As we stand here today as a community, family, and friends, bidding farewell to my best friend, Officer Ferguson, we should all be reminded of the impact he had on our lives. His legacy will live on through the memories we shared, the lessons we have learned, and the love he gave so freely but discreetly. Officer Anthony Ferguson may not be with us physically, but when I leave here today, I plan to carry out his legacy, take joy in the simplest of things, help others under the radar, and live life to the fullest. I hope you will join me and do the same for him. Thank you.
Hi everybody. First I want to start off thanking everybody in our community during the escort on Monday. Our community came one, lining the streets from Tularosa, La Luz, Alamogordo, everywhere in between, lining the streets to support Anthony Ferguson. For such a difficult time, I want you to know that brought warmth and comfort to all our hearts. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Otero County, State of New Mexico, and the entire nation involved, showing up then and today. Words will never be able to explain how much that means. I first met Tony around 11 years ago, just over 11 years ago, when he was hired on with the Alamogordo Police Department. I would have never dreamed of the impact he had on our community, and especially on me. The heartaches, joys, and laughter we shared over those years will never be forgotten. If I were asked how to describe Tony, to keep it simple, he was one of a kind. He was known for his pranks, sense of humor, as well as heart and soul, and his love for chocolate and ice cream. And on that topic, kind of comes with my latest memory of him. A little story about Tony. Tony was upset recently because he said or claimed he gained a pound or 2. He wanted to start running, so I agreed I'd run with him. The first day we met to run, he told me he was going to play music, basically to hype us up to run. As we started, he hit the play button, and I expected to get energized by hearing songs, Eye of the Tiger or the Rocky theme song. Oh, I was wrong. What was playing was Would It Be Nice by the Beach Boys. A very good song, but wouldn't have been my first choice. We ran many times after that, and like clockwork, after we finished running, Tony wouldn't go straight home. No, he'd go to Calichi's, the local ice cream place, and eat a fudge brownie bliss every time. You see, Tony paved his own path. He liked what he liked and wouldn't change for anyone. He was comfortable with who he was, happy and content. I could stay up here hours talking about his love for ice creams, pranks, from putting dead rattlesnakes in the floorboard of my unit to saran wrapping my unit. But instead, I'm going to talk about his heart and soul. Tony cares so much about his community. If you knew Tony, I promise you, at one point, he'd come and check up on you, ask if you need anything. He cared so much for others, always put others before himself. He gave and would never accept anything in return. Through the summers, Tony would, on his days off, would buy pizzas, water balloons, and have block parties for the neighborhood children, all on his own dime, just to see the kids smile and play. If he learned a kid was having a birthday party or selling lemonade, then the rest of the shift knew we were going to get a call to go up there and support him. Buy lemonade, wish the child happy birthday, and sit and play with them. I've been working here almost twice as long as Tony, but I don't come close to how great of an officer or man he was, nor the impact on our community and how much he gave. I'm also so proud of Tony, how strong and dedicated he was. When I described Tony as one of a kind, it's what I meant. When I describe someone like him is so rare, and I was fortunate enough for him to call me his friend and him my friend. My final message is for Brittany and Cameron. I have never seen Tony smile as big or as bright when he talks about you two. You're his light of his life. How proud he was when he talked about you, which was all the time. But that bond between you three will never fade or be lost. He loved nothing more. I love you, Tony. Rest in peace until we meet again. God bless.
I want to start off by saying thank you for everyone being here for the Ferguson family and the Thin Blue Line family. As I look around this place, I can say everyone here probably has a story about Ferguson. Either he made them laugh, it was a shoulder to cry on, or just somebody to make the day better with his famous Ferg smile. Ferguson is the man with many names. Tony with an I, Tony with a Y, Fergie, Fergalicious, the Grinch, because of that smile that went ear to ear. But I knew him as Ferg and Tony Montana, my brother. When I first met Ferg was in 2016, I told myself, how is this guy a police officer? He's funny, a goofy goober, a joker, and always making you laugh. Calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning just to ask you what time it was. And then he would just hang up. He wouldn't say anything else. But now I know why he was. He's the one that made the darkest into light. Fergus and I worked together for 7 years. 5 of those years were working patrol, same shift, same watch. Ferguson badge 134 didn't go anywhere without Silva. Badge 126. No matter what type of call, barking dog to a fight in progress, he always knew I was 30 seconds away or around the corner. We responded to multiple calls together, and I can honestly tell you, I can't remember most of them, because once Ferg started laughing, that call was done. We walked away not knowing what the call was about, but we were crying and laughing, and that was it. I got to know Ferguson over those 7 years, and one thing I knew is he loved to play jokes. He always talked about the college days, the college years, and jokes and pranks that he pulled on his roommates. I told myself, how could anybody live with him? And what did I do? I moved in with him. I lived with him for 3 years, and those pranks definitely didn't stop. There was a time, I remember, Ferg knew I couldn't handle dairy, so he decided to buy some ice cream sandwiches and replace the dairy-free box with real ice cream, just to watch what happened. Ferguson was a person that never let you buy anything. Every time we went to lunch or dinner, he bought, and he loved his tacos and his hot salsa. He was always eating M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, and ice cream. It could be 3 in the morning, working, and his mouth was full of candy. I have met many officers in my life, but I've never met an officer that wears thermals all year round. It could be 128 out or 28 degrees, and Ferg's got his thermals on. He loved the heat. Ferguson, Tony, I love you, brother. You will be missed. Rest easy.
Mine's going to be short and sweet. Like Fergie always said, I'm short, so I'm going to keep it to him. Fergie had the ability to make you mad as heck 1 minute and make up with you the next minute. Fergie was a real pain in my butt. As any supervisor who supervised over him quickly learned. Yet, if I needed help, he never hesitated. Fergie would always check up on me, even if I didn't need it. He would often bring rookies or newer officers that he trained by the house just to poke fun at me. He'd always joke over the years I've put on a few pounds, and of course I'd answer the door with no shirt on. And he'd say, "See, I told you." Fergie always put everyone else's concerns before his. He would go buy birthday cards and cakes and some sort of child toy that reminded him of you. Mine was a child's badge with the last name Jackson on it. It just never stopped. I was convinced that Fergie and I had a special friendship. The one that no one else could possibly have stories about, the times he checked up on me or took care of me and my house and my dogs while I was out on vacation. He actually sent me a video of him taking my new puppy on a walk at the park and taught my dog how to sit and shake before we even got back from vacation. That's how much time this guy would just spend on you. Fergie always talked and joked with my 3 kids as if they were his own. A lot of times he'd walk into the house and just right away start going in on my kids, and my kids would just say, "Where's that smile at? Please don't steal Christmas this year." He was the Grinch, or had the smile of a Grinch. After these past few days of listening to other people's stories of how Fergie did this or that for them, reading Facebook posts about their stories of Fergie made me realize Fergie has special friendships with a lot of people, and not just me. I feel kind of cheated in a way because I felt that we did have a special love-hate friendship. Because did I mention he was a pain in my butt? Yes. But that was Fergie. He made everyone feel special. Yet he always, again, did I mention he was a pain in my butt? Yet he always found a way to make me forget that I was mad at him. That smile that made me and my kids think of the Grinch. Every time I made free salsa, he would stop by and get his Tupperware full of salsa, eat it all, and then call me and say, "When are you going to make some actual hot salsa?" When I missed him talking trash to me about being short, him doing actual police work while I'm doing nothing at work, his practical jokes, that's just him, Fergie. Fergie, I want to thank you for being my friend, even at times when I didn't deserve your friendship.
Ferguson, Tony, the Grinch, a who, and also my wife's BFF. You were a man of many names, but we can all agree that you were more than your nicknames. You were a friend, a father, a leader, and most of all, a protector. I remember when we first met, you were the first officer to come up to me and introduce yourself when I was in training. You were so kind, full of life, had a huge smile. All I could think is, this guy is not your typical cop. But you were more than just a cop. You were a great teacher and leader. Riding with you and being on nights with you are some of my greatest memories. You helped make me into the law enforcement officer I am today. One day you got upset with me because I wouldn't give you ice cream. And that's when you switched sides. Yep, you said my wife was now your BFF and texted her to let her know she was your BFF. And that's how you became a family friend. Always stepping in when we needed anything small, like moving a piano or something big. Like offering to walk my wife down the aisle on our wedding day. Or pushing me around in a wheelchair to look at art. You always made it a point to let us know if we ever needed anything, to let you know. You were always there in a heartbeat. And although I will always be a Broncos fan, I may consider nicknaming my dog Raider, like you always wanted. I could stand up here for hours and talk about all the great memories we have, but I just want you to know I love you, Ferg. I know you will always be watching over us. Rest easy, brother. We got it from here.
Thanks. Lieutenant William Skaggs from the Alamogordo Fire Department, Sergeant Charlene Nash, Sergeant Jax Jackson, Officer Scotty Winrow, Special Agent Eric Silva, and Special Agent Diana Chavez of the 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office. And now I would like to ask Shannon Page to come to the front and share your memories with us of, I'm going to say it, Fergalicious, because that was my favorite one. Thank you, Shannon.
I'm glad that several people said Fergalicious because I didn't know if it would be appropriate. That was my favorite as well. So, my name is Shannon Page. Man, never thought I'd be standing right here with you all today, but happy to be here to honor the life of my great friend and brother. The family's asked me to come and say a few words. I'm going to read a little something that I prepared. And then, last but certainly not least, I'm going to read some comments that the family has asked me to read. As many people have said, Officer Ferguson is Tony to me. And so I'm going to read this, and you're going to hear a lot of Tony because it was either Tony or Ferguson. Over these past 6 days, I've been blessed with the opportunity to connect with so many of Tony's friends, family, and fellow law enforcement officers. Many of you have great stories about Tony's life and career, and I encourage you to share those with each other in his honor. Tony came into my life several years ago when I relocated to Alamogordo. Our kids were friends and attended the same school. I met him in passing, and I have to say my most memorable early interaction with Officer Ferguson is when he pulled me over on Scenic Drive, almost right outside of these front doors. I have to admit that I said, "Hey, I think I know you. Aren't our kids friends?" And he looks at me and says, "Yeah, if I catch you again, I will be writing you a ticket." We then began to break bread together and spend frequent time together. We spent time talking about family. And a good friend of mine once said, family also can be the friends that you choose as family. And I think it goes to say that many of the people here today would call Ferguson family as well. We talked about travel. We talked about going diving. We talked about food, and he'd send me all these places off Instagram, like, we need to go here. We need to check this place out. Or, man, check this out. We should make this. We spent a lot of time talking about what he was going to do when he was going to retire. We dreamed about everything from storage units. He loved storage units, and that was the business he thought we should go into so that he could, at one point, maybe move to Costa Rica and work on the beach in retirement. So, Tony was quick-witted and sarcastic. He loved to joke and have a good time. Wearing this uniform and shield can certainly have an impact, and it had an impact on his mental health, physical health, and emotional health. I feel that Ferguson tried to keep the non-law enforcement family and shield us from the difficult parts of the job. For those of you that served alongside him, you may know that he did not mince words and that he said what he felt. You were also likely involved in a practical joke or two because no one was immune from his antics, especially not the officers who trained under his guidance. The job is a tough one, and I want Tony's law enforcement family to know that you've gained a guardian angel to watch over you as you serve and protect the community that you work in. Our friend has made the ultimate sacrifice. To the family and friends, although we've lost the physical presence of a son, brother, uncle, father, and friend, his spirit will live on through the lives of everyone who loved him. As the celebration of his life comes to a close and the quietness of daily life sinks in over the coming days, weeks, and months, I would encourage you to all celebrate Tony by living your life the way that you think that he would want you to. I think that Tony would expect and ask us to all remain strong. I believe that he would want us to adventure on and explore the wonders of the world around us. I would think that he would also want us all to not take life too seriously. And ultimately, he would encourage us to connect with those that we love, because he was always checking in on all of us. Today, Ferguson, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for welcoming me into your life and treating me as family. Thank you for looking after all of us and always checking in on our well-being. And thank you for enriching all of our lives in ways that we will never be able to repay you for. And thank you for always being you, genuinely, without apology. Now I'll read comments from Tony's family. First, I'd like to thank you. It's an honor to be able to do this. It's been really great to meet all of you and spend time with you. He spoke of all of you, and so putting faces with names, and some of you I've met before, really I'm honored, so thank you. From Tony's mother, I love you, son. There is a hole in my heart. From Tony's father, I love you, son. From Tony's brother, Tim, I would like everyone to know that I was born first. Tony looks like me. It is an honor that I will carry forever. Thank you to everyone who has supported Tony and his family. Tip. From Miles. We're gonna miss your surprise visits. Monsters gonna miss being tortured by you, and Brooklyn will always be your little mamas. From Tony's niece, Funny Money Honey. Tony was the best uncle ever. I will think of you every time I eat ice cream. I will miss you so much. I love seeing how much people care for you. And they really do. From his nephew, Bean. I'm gonna miss hanging out with you. I'm better at Call of Duty. You need to practice, and until I see you again, Bean. From his sister-in-law, Becky, AKA Mom. Thank you for being a great friend, for all of the fun memories, and for the random messages that always made me laugh. Oh, piece of candy. I love you, Boney Tony. And from Tony's brother, John. I love you, Tony, and I'm going to miss you. And from Tony's niece, Stinky. My biggest thing will be his hugs. While they did come with a huge lick to the face, the blood, and many tickles, the hours of laughing for no reason, our inside jokes, or coloring his feet with Sharpie. He was an amazing man, a huge role model, and one of my biggest supporters through the good times and the hard times. Stinky will forever be my nickname. I love you very much, and will miss you more than words can say. Unky Herb. Rest easy, my friend.
Before moving with the next portion of our program, I would like to say just a couple of things. Excuse me, I'll wait. The next portion of our program is something that is we as officers take very seriously, and it falls very heavily as a burden on us, as a realization of the ultimate requirement of the oath of our office. I know how proud you were of Tony. That has absolutely been conveyed in my time with you. And as you look around and see the officers who support you as a family, support Tony and our loss of our brother, realize that they support one another too. And as I read this, I'm going to ask that each of my brother officers grab their badge. This comes from Stephen Pressfield's Gates of Fire. This is my shield, and I bear it before me into battle. But it is not mine alone. It protects my brother on my left. It protects my city, and I will never let my brother out of its shadow, nor my city out of its shelter. I will die with my shield before me, facing the enemy. Thank you for each and every one of you, men and women, who honor this badge. If you would please turn your attention to the monitors for our police honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're preparing to render police honors to fallen officer Anthony Ferguson. There will be firing of the rifle volleys. All officers, please stand. Forward. March. Center. Think. Present. On. Order. On. Property commander. Prepare fire volley. Retreat. Come.
As we close our celebration of Officer Anthony Ferguson's life, the honor that is due for his sacrifice, his family's loving gift, and their sacrifice to our community, I would like to thank you on behalf of the family for each individual that has taken time out of your day to pay your respects. I know the family appreciates it, and I would like to share a few of their words directly in closing. We would like to sincerely thank everyone. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. We know that this is not where we all want to be gathered today, nor has it been easy. There are no words from our family that could be said to say how meaningful y'all have been to us. Every action, the meals provided, and the words that have been said, and most especially the memories of Fergie that have been shared have meant so much to our family. I am happy to say that while we may have lost Ferguson, we have gained a bigger family from all the officers and the community that have been out there day in and day out. We would also like to give a very special thank you to everyone in the station who stood by Ferguson's side, both on duty, as a friend, as a teammate, while in the ICU. Your prayers, your support, your hugs have impacted our family every day. I would ask that everyone remain in their seats while the recessional exits the building. Once they have left the area, I will come back up and let you know and dismiss you. On behalf of the family, City of Alamogordo, Police Department, City of Alamogordo, thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Alamogordo Police Department pallbearers, Guy Officer Ferguson out, followed by the family, followed by Alamogordo PD. All officers, please establish a cordon on both sides of the aisle to guide Officer Ferguson out of the building. Ready, halt. Face. Ready, down. Ready, up. Step. 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 Ready, down. Ready, up.
prepare to exit the building, I ask that you please be respectful of the formation of Officer Ferguson's final escort. Please do not cross directly in front of the building, but if you would like to step outside to observe, you are dismissed. Thank you for your attendance.